To me, there's one key component to the Epstein story, in my opinion. I'm sure you have yours. But I do believe that if there is one component that truly stands above the rest, it's who was the person that really allowed Epstein to maneuver throughout this country and act as a field agent, if you will, for the Mossad. Epstein was rich, but he wasn't rich because he did anything grandiose that made him that. He did his assignments and he was given money to facilitate. So in a way, he was rich on paper, but he wasn't really rich because he didn't actually produce or create anything.
We've talked about this, right? Like we've covered this to some extent. It's been a while since we've gone over this, but you're talking about the guy who basically gave him his entire financial backstory.
Correct.
It started his career in where he came out of not even graduating college and being a teacher. And then the next thing you know, he's in high finance with all these people.
Well, the reason why this has become a hot button topic again is because of this. Wexner named in released Epstein email about co-conspirators in sex trafficking case. Now, if you want to know where the real issue lies, it's who was actually calling the shots and who was actually producing the money and who was working directly with the Mossad. And that person is Leslie Wexner. Now, for those who are not familiar with Mr. Wexner and what his background is, and again, this should come as no surprise when you consider that so much of what the Epstein files on the surface has been about is uncovering we'll just call it the ruling class. You could say it's the billionaire class, the Zio billionaire class. You could call it all those things. But the fact of the matter is, it is the ruling class. And in the case of Wexner, he is the co-founder of Bath & Body Works, and he is also the principal founder of Abercrombie & Fitch and Victoria's Secret. So when you think about these stories that come out about underage girls and the trafficking and the activity that goes on, this is a person who's very high up on the hog, who never gets talked about. Epstein dominates the headlines, but Wexner is somebody that is considered somewhat of a third rail, that you're not supposed to talk about him. And
that's his financer. That's who bankrolled him in the very beginning when he was getting up and running in this whole little pay for play scheme they have going on with Israel and blackmail. This is the guy who has the house in Palm Beach right near Epstein's, right?
I have to check if he has, I would guess he has a home in, and you're thinking of Howard Lutnick, but you also have Wexner, who is the richest man in Ohio. He has an absurd compound that he owns in Columbus. And here's a guy who has plenty of dirt under his fingernails. And yet for some reason, he's always been able to skate. There's never been any indictments. This is a person who's worth just under $9 billion with a B. And again, numerous attachments to the state of Israel. So in accordance with an NPR affiliate, newly released, heavily redacted emails from the U.S. Department of Justice investigations into Jeffrey Epstein appear to show the FBI was looking into Ohio billionaire Les Wexner's possible connections to the case. No, actual connections, not possible. Wexner's name appears in an FBI email thread asking for updates on 10 alleged co-conspirators. Wexner is an influential businessman from New Albany whose wealth has made him Ohio's richest man. The email came from the latest drop of the so-called Epstein files from the DOJ after Congress passed a law compelling their release. Thank you, Thomas Massey. Thank you, Ro Khanna. Much of the files are redacted from view. An email dated July 7, 2019 reads, "When you get a chance, can you give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators?" The email sender's name was redacted, but it included a signature line that included FBI New York. Jen, would you like to take over?
Where are you?
Right at the top.
The author of a reply email whose name and address were redacted wrote, "I do not know about Ohio contracting Wexner." The same email contained other names, including Brunel and Maxwell, that apparently referred to Jean-Luc Brunel, the late French model scout. I like model scout as a term instead of child trafficker. Model scout.
Pederast, something like that.
Right, model scout, accused of raping minors, and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. A second email exchange dated July 9th, 2019, appears to be between investigators from an agency's violent crime section for crimes against children human trafficking unit, or the CACTU. The email mentions the 10 co-conspirators again and attempts to contact each. The email mentions a wealthy businessman in Ohio that hadn't yet been served a subpoena. I wonder who that could be.
Now, can you put on your attorney hat for a minute and explain to the audience?
All right, hold on.
Okay, you got a hat. You got a special hat to put on. There you go. Can you explain to the audience why the rich and powerful are able to skirt the law in this capacity, where they actually are able to avoid any type of subpoena request?
Oh, well, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, you mean as a whole, I mean, this goes way deep. This goes to, well, we only criminalize crimes of poverty. We don't really criminalize rich people crimes. Rich people can afford to have a defense that will keep it entangled and suppressed, and they'll squash witnesses and all this stuff, right? So there's no point. And at the end of the day, they'll buy their way out of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's the whole concept of, I can afford to get out of this. I have all the money in the world. I can delay this. I can kick the can down the road. I can get continuance after continuance. And by the time, like I said, in some of these cases, they delay it, the continuances, for so long that by the time there actually is any justice, the person's already dead. Like,
there's no wealthy people are not held accountable. They're not.
Not in this country.
And by wealthy, I don't mean people that just do really well for a living. I mean people that don't work for a living.
Correct.
Wealthy.
Well, people work for them and they make the money.
Correct. Right.
Again, just a new form of modern day slavery. That's what
exactly.
Wexner's legal representative said in a statement that the assistant U.S. attorney in charge of the Epstein investigation said at the time that Wexner was not a co-conspirator nor a target in any respect. The statement said Wexner cooperated fully by providing background info on Epstein. He was never contacted again. That's a lie. Wexner and Epstein's friendship dates back to the late 1980s, when Epstein was introduced to Wexner's financial advisor. The New York Times reported this month that despite warnings, Wexner then hired Epstein to be his new financial advisor. I wonder why. Epstein allegedly siphoned wealth from the billionaire for decades. Wexner founded The Limited, Abercrombie & Fitch, Bath & Body Works, and Victoria's Secret.
All of that just seems so much more disgusting now.
Oh,
I mean, it always was definitely capitalistic and somewhat unsavory in that regard, but it's, now it's linked to the sex trafficking thing, right? Like it's so gross. All of it.
But it's not surprising. That's the point. It's not surprising. Records show Epstein continued as Wexner's money manager, Wexner has appeared in several new photos in the newly released files. Wexner claims to have cut ties with Epstein after he was charged in Florida with solicitation of prostitution and solicitation of prostitution with a minor under the age of 18. Records show Epstein continued as Wexner's money manager as late as mid-2007, when Epstein's foundation gave $2.5 million from Wexner's charitable foundations to the Ohio State University. I'm not a Buckeye fan. I'm an Irish fan.
I like Buckeyes, though, the treats. There's treats, the little Buckeyes. They're cookies. They're peanut butter chocolate
Buckies.
cookies.
That's what it's about.
No, not Buc-ee's, Buckeyes. Buckeyes are little chocolate peanut butter bowl cookie treats.
Bring us home, please.
Epstein was charged again in 2019 and died. He died.
Yeah, sort of.
In August 2019 by suicide. Yeah. in his jail cell a month after these emails were sent. Wexner once chaired the Ohio State University Board of Trustees, the Columbus Partnership, and had membership in prominent organizations. Wow. Wexner is now the chair of the Ohio State University's Wexner Medical Center Board of Trustees. He didn't appear at the board's December meeting.
Isn't it amazing how these billionaire criminals love to have shit named after them? Like they're so enamored.
I'm very familiar with these types of people. And yes, they very much like to have stuff with their names on it and get invited to dedications and ribbon cuttings and all sorts of stuff where they get to like present how philanthropic they are, how giving they are.
Oh, yes. Now, why do I think that this is a big deal? Why is this story a big deal? I'll tell you why. Because it does appear that the walls may finally be closing in on Leslie Wexner. And in my opinion, Trump is nothing compared to this guy. This guy's the real power player. Senator Lowell of Ohio, who I believe represents Columbus, represents the area that covers where Leslie Wexner lives. And credit to the rooster who confronted him at a recent Republican meeting.
Senator Brenner.
Yeah.
We agree. Our beautiful Buckeyes, right? The beautiful Buckeye football team. We're big fans, correct?
Yes.
What do you say about Leslie Wexner sharing the same facility name? It's the Les Wexner Football Center at the Woody Hayes Athletic Complex.
What about it?
Should Wexner's name come down, knowing what we know as
What do we know?
that Wexner has a decades-long friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, the
So did
disgrace.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, that's fine. We can get Bill Clinton on the.
You know,
Yeah,
I
exactly. Take his name off of shit too.
I love when they bring up my name because they think that that's a shield, but I got to tell you, it's not working like it used to. I maybe have finally run out of real estate myself.
But we're in Ohio. We're in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio.
I think if
Bill
something
Clinton's
were to
name.
come out that would show Les Wexner knew things were going on, then it should be removed.
Did you
Unless
see
that happens,
did you
then
see the
not.
letter that he wrote?
No.
So he wrote a personalized birthday card for Wexner for Epstein's 50th birthday party. It's a book, and if you look at it, it's everybody in
I'd
the.
have to take a look at it.
Okay, well, it's a letter where everybody makes overt references to his sexual depravity, right? In it, Wexner says, "I couldn't get you what you wanted in this letter, so here you go." And it's a female breast, and it's signed by Wexner himself. Decades-long relationship.
No, that's not minors.
You've got.
If there were something connected where it showed him with minors and doing something
Well,
like that,
he's
then I would
running.
say yes.
So, he was a trustee with Dr. Strauss scandal, correct? For the last 10 years of the Dr. Strauss scandal.
He may have been.
He also handpicked Mike Jeffries, the former Abercrombie CEO, who's been since
If you want
indicted.
to forward me the stuff, I'll take a look at it.
Here's what I will say. Here's the one thing that I will say. I actually don't mind the way that Senator Brenner is answering these questions. For one, he's not running away, because most of these guys don't even want to be addressed. And you're talking about a state senator trying to legally challenge the most powerful man, not just in Ohio, but one of the most powerful men in the entire country.
You mean a U.S. senator, not a state senator?
Well, but what he's basically saying is, give me something that I could stick to his ass, and I'll take care of it. I will pressure the attorney general to file charges against him. Okay, that's better than saying, oh, that's all hogwash. It's like, show me something that's attached to kids, and I'll give it to you. So we'll finish this out.
Okay, but he's been indicted for sexual trafficking, interstate prostitution. So that's the trifecta. Wexner.
That's not good.
Wexner is currently dodging subpoena service in the Dr. Strauss lawsuit.
I think I did see that.
Yeah. So, why won't he sit down and talk? And if he's not going to sit
I
down
would
and
say
talk,
he should.
He should. And should his name be on the football facility?
I think unless there's some proof that he did something that was really bad, then I
So
would say
what if I told
it's
you?
up to Ohio State.
I'll leave you with this. And I'll get your last comment. The Wexner facility, that name was put up there with Woody Hayes, the most prestigious name in university history. $5 million donation. 2.5 came from his wife. The other 2.5 came from Jeffrey Epstein. his foundation with Giselle Maxwell. 2.5.
If you want to forward that to me, I'll look at it and I'll contact the trustees.
I'm giving you the heads up because there's a storm coming.
Well,
in
then
1
that's
week.
a problem for him if that's the case.
Yeah.
There's a storm coming.
And he's right. There is. So credit to Senator Brennan for at least being somewhat cognizant of what's going on here. Because as we continue to peel back the onion, you're now hearing somebody, and the reason we bring this all full circle regarding the Epstein files, guys, Senator Brennan actually has the power to do something about Leslie Wexner, who was the person behind Jeffrey Epstein. And I've been listening to this for the past several years, and it's almost as if Wexner never, ever gets addressed. And we wonder why. It's the person who doesn't get addressed that really has the power. Everybody wants to throw it at Trump and say that he's the reason. I'm not saying he's innocent because he's clearly not. But if there is a guilty party who truly was in control of all of this, it was Leslie Wexner. And it may appear that he may have finally run out of ways to go. Now, hopefully they can do this sooner rather than later because Wexner is 88 years old and who knows how much longer he's going to last.